photosynthetic activities. As a result, they release oxygen. So if you're doing deforestation, the plants will be cut down and they will no longer be there. So they won't be able to take in carbon dioxide, meaning that there will be large amounts of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And then this will lead to climate change, in that carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas which contributes to the increase or rising temperature of the earth over time.
Good job. Okay. So now let me tell you Opoku Ware School. It's actually a three-step process, right? Ecosystem loss involves the destruction of habitat. That's the first part, the destruction of habitat. So when the habitat is destroyed, the organisms that require this habitat for food, shelter, and reproduction, they are pushed to the brink. Okay, that will then cause them to now lead to some loss of the species that rely on this environment. Then the second part is the destruction of the interdependence, right? So one species depends on another, one species is affected. Just imagine that a predator no longer has a prey. It will cause both of them to eventually be, what is it called? They will lead to extinction for both of them. And then that is where the third part comes in, the co-extinction, right? So those were the different levels I was looking at. I gave you the point because you said there's a direct relationship. In fact, the destruction or degradation of habitat is the leading cause of species extinction. So yes, they are directly related. That's what I gave you the point for. But the details were not there. All right. And now this is where your learning point comes in, right? You see, all of these things, human action is involved. Human action. So human activity will cause the deforestation. Human activity will cause the exposure of peat to oxygen, causing the microorganisms to now break down the carbon-rich peat, creating more CO2 for the environment, making the climate change worse, right? And then species extinction, again, human beings. So please, we are all part of this. We need to care about our ecosystem. Thank you very much. Next 30 seconds with a short preamble to all schools. Preamble. Find natural numbers m and n such that, that's a preamble. I hope you got it. All right. So Opoku Ware, the expression 2m plus n over 23 is equal to 17 over the expression m plus n.
M is equal to 6. N is equal to 11.
You're right. Mfantsipim school with the same preamble. The expression 3m plus n over 29 is equal to 19 over the expression m plus n. Yes, Benjamin?
M is equal to 5 and N is equal to 14.
You're right. St. St. Augustine's with the same preamble. The expression 2m plus n over 31 is equal to 23 over the expression m plus n. Yes, Harold?
M is equal to 8 and N is equal to 15.
You're right. Next set, you can do this in 10 seconds. Opoku Ware School. A student dissolves a small amount of finely powdered zinc in a hydrochloric acid solution. Will zinc metal be recovered after the student evaporates the solution to dryness under gentle heating? Explain clearly what happens to the zinc. Seven.
The zinc will not be able to be recovered, and this is because the zinc will react with the hydrochloric acid, and the zinc displaces the hydrogen in the hydrochloric acid to form zinc chloride with the release of hydrogen gas, and this is because zinc is above hydrogen in the activity sequence. That is, it has a higher reduction potential than hydrogen, and hence it displaces the hydrogen from the hydrogen chloride. And as a result, no zinc will be formed, but rather the zinc chloride and hydrogen gas.
2. I will come back with an explanation. Mfantsipim School. In an industrial process, equal moles of hydrofluoric acid, a weak acid, and hydrochloric acid, a strong acid, react with potassium hydroxide, a strong base, in separate reactions to form respective potassium salts. Will both processes yield equal moles of product? Please explain the chemical reasoning behind your answer. Yes.
Okay, so the salts that would be formed would not have the same number of moves, and this is because of the difference in the strengths of the acids. So hydrofluoric acid is a weak acid, and as such dissociates only partially, and then does not release all of its 8 plus ions in a solution. As such, not all the 8 plus ions go to combine with the KOH in order to form its salt, and as such, less of the salt formed from the hydrogen fluoride, that's the potassium fluoride, will be formed as much as there is potassium chloride formed, since hydrochloric acid is a strong acid, and then all and will dissociate completely, releasing all its 8 plus ions, so that the potassium can combine with the Cl to form even more salt than would be formed by the hydrofluoric acid.
Finished?
Yeah.
No, for bonus. For a bonus. I will come back. St. Augustine's. pay attention. A student fills one cup with pure water and another with water containing dissolved table salt. Then places both in a freezer maintained at 0 degrees Celsius. Will both samples freeze? Clearly explain the reason for any difference in their freezing behavior. Nana Beni.
So when they are both kept in the freezer at 0 degrees Celsius,
Please speak up.
when they are both in points of 0 degrees Celsius, so that one will freeze all right. But the water containing the dissolved sodium chloride will not, as the table salt, would not necessarily freeze at 0 degrees Celsius, but it will freeze at a lower temperature. This is due to the phenomenon known as freezing point